Everybody, TC Bradley, host of God Made Millionaire TV. I am so thrilled that you, yes you, have made your way back to the show tonight. And what a show I've got lined up for you tonight. I've got my very good friend, Simon T. Bailey. Simon T. Bailey is making a dent in the universe with his Shift to Brilliance coaching program. And I've invited him back to deep dive on his program. So without any further ado, let's crack open the vault and let's get this show started. Simon T. Bailey, welcome back to the show, my brother.
Thank you for having me. Good to be with you.
Simon T., we just ran out of time the last time you were on set. What a powerful interview that you and I had here the last time we were here. But this interview, I want to do a deeper dive on your business model and what it is that you do in that business and who you serve in the community. So tell us a little bit more about your business model, if you don't mind.
Yeah, my whole goal is to coach people to their brilliance. And when I coach you to your brilliance, you will never be average again, because you recognize that a paycheck is given to people who show up, but opportunities are given to people who work beyond what they're paid to do. But you need a coach who comes alongside to aid and guide you in the path of how do I think unconventionally.
Right. Now, you have an impressive resume and background. How many companies have you worked with over how many nations?
Yeah, 1,800 organizations, 49 countries.
As a matter of fact, when my producers reached out to you, you were at an event in the ATL speaking to 400 business executives,
yes,
were you not?
400 of the top leaders with Cox Business, and what an amazing time I had with them.
And that is amazing. That is in-demand speaker, author, I might add, of 10 books. But talk about the Shift into Brilliance, this coaching program. That program is pretty amazing. Tell us what it is and who it's for, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so the purpose is to take 30 years of what I've learned. Prior to working with all these different companies, I've had 6 different jobs, 10 different companies. I've learned a lot. So I wanted to compress 30 years into 30 minutes.
Wow.
That you can now unpack over several weeks. And inside that 30 minutes, there's an audio interview of me actually teaching tips, tools, and techniques on how you shift to brilliance. There's a workbook that you begin to work through. And when you work through the workbook and you listen to the audio, you now have a plan to say, what am I going to do to shift to brilliance?
Now, who listening at home would be an ideal candidate for the Shift to Brilliance training program that you put together?
It's for the person that says, what is the mindset that I need to be relevant for where the economy is going? It's a person that's saying, what is the skill set that I need to add value every single day? And then what is the will set that allows me to increase my productivity and create results?
Tell us a testimonial or a success story from somebody that's gone through your training program.
Yeah, I have a guy, Pastor Robert of Miami, who was working at a post office, and he got a hold of the Shift to Brilliance program, literally left the post office job, was also a pastor, and is now speaking all over the country. He shifted his brilliance, has increased his income to 6 figures because he recognized the best hand that will feed him at the end of the day is the one at the end of his wrist.
We've got postal workers all across America going, what did he just say? Are you kidding me, Simon T? Tell me another one. Tell me another story.
A few years ago, I got contacted by a young lady named Olivia in Ireland. She was working at a company, but she believed that there was more in her to do. And what happens, you become frustrated and flustered when you can have a 50 by 60 dream, but you're around 8 by 10 thinking. So she got a hold of Shift to Brilliance, and literally in 7 years has become one of the top designers, event designers in all of Europe. And I just got a DM, a message via Instagram from a guy named Michael who happened to know her found out what she was doing, and he shifted his brilliance, because sometimes when you're in the proximity of someone who is breaking through, it rubs off on you.
Come on,
so
somebody.
Literally, when you're in that proximity, it begins to change your mindset, your skill set, and you're like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I got a call from a woman named Norma just last week. She said, I was telling people that when I began to shift my brilliance, I doubled my pricing, and she's in one of the most competitive markets in all of the country, New York City, New Jersey, and she's #1 in her space because she found a way to shift her brilliance.
Simon T. Bailey, you're at the pinnacle of your success. If you would look at your track record, what motivates you to help so many people make that shift into brilliance at this moment in your life?
My goal is to really help people understand the power of shared prosperity. There's more than enough to go around, but we have to get up off our blessed assurance and go and get it.
Right, right. Well, let me ask you this. Give me a defining moment in your life when you came to a fork in the road and you had a decision to make, and you made that decision, and now look what's happened. People are listening at home and they go, oh, Simon T. Bailey. Well, of course Simon T. Bailey can do it, but what about me? Tell us a little bit about that defining moment in your life.
A defining moment for me is I was working at Disney, and whenever you work at Disney, you never talk to the media unless authorized.
Right.
Well, one day I got a call from a journalist. He said, where do you see yourself? I said, I see myself as the president and CEO of the Walt Disney World Resort, and eventually the chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company, and he puts us in print. The article comes out, page 12, magazine that particular time, and there's my picture saying I wanted to become the #1 guy at Disney. And my boss called me in the office like, what were you thinking when you did this interview? And I said, they would say in the South, bless his heart. And and I said, I work at this company whose motto is, if your heart is in your dreams, no request is too extreme, for when you wish upon a star, it makes no difference who you are. So as you can imagine, HR shows up a couple hours later, and Disney didn't fire me that day, but about a year later, I heard the footsteps coming, and they were not singing It's a Small World after all. So I thought it was probably in my best interest if I find my happiness elsewhere. So I cashed in my entire 401k, took out a line of credit on the house. My then wife didn't work outside the home. My children, Daniel was 4, Madison was 18 months. And I decided to go for it because there will never be a convenient time for you to say yes to your dreams. Saying yes is inconvenient. So the moment I said yes to my dreams, and I had about 3 years of savings to make this entrepreneurial journey work, that was a defining moment for me.
Right, right. Simon T. Bailey, I am such a fan of what you're doing and what God has given you to do, this purpose, this assignment. I believe it's a divine assignment, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. I wake up every single day and I love what I do because this is what I'm called to do.
Simon T. Bailey, I want to have you look into the camera, if you would. So many of our listening audience right now, they're at that crossroads of their destiny. They're looking at you and going, can I do it? If Simon T. Bailey has done it, can I do it? I want you to look into the camera at home. Talk to that person that is at that defining moment in their life, the crossroads of a destiny, and just give them some encouragement.
A man was having a reoccurring dream of a ferocious lion chasing him. And whenever he would have the dream, he would take off running. And one day he went to see a counselor, and he told him about this dream he was having of this lion that was chasing him. And the counselor said, the next time you have the dream, stop, face the lion, look the lion in the eye, and ask the lion, who are you? Why are you chasing me? So sure enough, a couple of days goes by, and this guy has this dream again of this lion chasing him. And he's running, but he then turns around, faces the lion, looks the lion in the eye, and says, who are you? Why are you chasing me? And the lion says, I am your strength and courage. Why are you running from me? There's someone that's listening to me right now. You've been running from instead of running to for who you will become in the process. I invite you at this moment to find that courage and to say yes to your destiny, because on the other side of yes is everything that is about to break through for you. And when you say yes, see, money is not your problem. You need a relationship. And if you get the relationship will bring the money, but you have to find the courage to say yes to yourself. And when you say yes to yourself, there's a ripple effect that impacts the generations that are coming after you. So you're about to break something right now in the spirit by saying yes to yourself, by finding your courage.
Woo! Simon T. Bailey. Man, I love you, brother, and I love what you're up to, my man.
Thank you so
will you
much.
come back and see me again?
I will,
know
for sure.
You're being a frequent guest here, but I love having you on.
Thank you.
You've shaken the nations. You've inspired so many people. Simon T. Bailey, folks, make sure you connect with this brother. He's up to something big, and he's going to help you fulfill your destiny as well. That God-given assignment. I love it in you, brother. Hey, it is my honor and privilege to bring to you to the studio tonight April Vaughn. April Vaughn is the CEO of Well Dwelling. She is building an empire, a real estate empire, in spite of all the odds that have been placed against her. She's helping to revitalize communities. She is a force to be reckoned with and somebody you're going to want to listen to tonight. So without any further ado, let's go into the studio. April Vaughn.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
What an honor to have you on the set today.
Why, thank you. It's an honor to be in your presence. So I'm excited about today.
April, I have to tell you, I want to take the viewers back to a moment in time on Facebook when I was doing a Facebook Live video, and I was doing it before the show aired that night, and I was talking about how God had given me a mandate that 1,000 God Made Millionaires were going to come through the book that I've written, God Made Millionaire, and of course the show. And I was saying, who is one of the 1,000? Are you on this Facebook Live? And it's like April Vaughn was going, yes,
yes. I'm
me.
the first one of 1,000. Let me go out there and be the first to proclaim that I am one of those 1,000. I felt it kind of leaping on the inside of me. Something activated, and I was like, absolutely, that's me. I've been saying for a while, I'm been called to be a millionaire and fund millions and billions and trillions of dollars to the kingdom. So I was so excited about your call to, give a platform to people like myself to go out and encourage people to do the same thing that we have and move forward and give God our yes.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it. April, for the viewers that are watching at home for the first time, they're seeing you here on our set, give them a little peek behind the curtain of who you are and what God has called you to do, because there's a walk behind your talk about this God Made Millionaire stuff.
Absolutely. I'm founder and CEO of Well Dwelling, LLC, and a real estate investment company. And that was absolutely not my choice. It was kind of my passion for real estate, flipping homes, design, kind of was something that I didn't think anything of. Growing up, I used to watch the show Trading Spaces and do little projects around the house, rip out hardwoods, replace it. God was kind of just pruning me at that time, getting me prepared for what he had for me. And I had no idea how big the dream was.
You're a CEO and founder of a real estate investment company.
Yes.
But it was never
my intention.
On your radar screen.
Never
on your bucket list of things to do. If this wasn't on your radar screen, how did you shift into this successful company that you're running now?
I bought my first property kind of by happenstance.
High five on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I was not planning on buying any property. I kind of happened upon a property. I was actually living with my husband. Wasn't my husband at the time, but a property came up for sale next door, a duplex actually. I was like, oh, let me Google it. Let me see how much they want. And the price, I was like, $40,000 for a duplex. It was run down, dilapidated. It was in horrible condition. But I was like, I can't pass this up. No smart person would pass up a duplex for $40,000. Called the agent. I didn't have an agent at the time. I called the listing agent and I said, oh, I think I'm interested in buying it. At the time, they told me, well, we have a handful of investors that have cash offers. So if you are not coming with cash, most likely you're not going to get this property. So, I kind of backed away, and we live right next door. So I saw the sign there and it stayed there. And I called again, and she said, well, it's kind of, this property has switched hands. Bank of America is now kind of taking it over, and they're going to put it up for sale, but only for owner occupants or first time home buyers.
Okay.
So there's going to be this grace period where investors won't be able to put in bids until we've vetted out all of non-investors who may be interested in this property. And so I was like, that's it. Like, this is my opportunity. So I put in my offer. I was the only offer that was non-investor to put in an offer on this property. My offer was accepted, and I applied for a renovation loan.
And you got hooked.
And I got hooked. That was it. I was in.
It was hook, line, and sinker. That's amazing. So that was your first deal that you did.
That was my first deal, and I still have that property to this day.
Why do you think it is that faith-based people are not activating their God-given dreams? What do you think that is, April?
Speaking from experience, I will say that it's one, fear, and two, feeling unqualified. Playing in an arena or a field that I've been told that I'm not meant to succeed in.
Right.
My race, my gender is not the type of stereotypical person that you see exceeding and having major success in the real estate game.
Right.
So he's shaking it up. He's saying, I didn't call the qualified. I'm qualifying the called. So
say that again.
God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And we are called by God.
Wow. Yes. I love that. So you work with rehabbers, you work with private investors. Tell us a little bit about your business model.
Well, I had been doing a lot of the work myself. I'm very skilled with my hands, and engineer by trade.
Let me see those
They may
hands.
not look like it, but I got a little bit of carpentry skills.
You've been working on these houses yourself, is what you're telling me.
Absolutely, yes.
I love it. I love it.
But God is calling me to step out. The last project that I just finished, I actually, like I said, I was flipping everything in my personal name. And because of the price point of this one, I could not move forward without putting together my LLC. So 2 weeks out from when I was due to close on this property, the lender told me, I can't let you close unless you form your LLC. And I was like, well, that means I'm going to have to grow my business. So God kind of forced me to level up. And
you're blowing my mind right now, April, because I'm still back on that statement that you made about you went in and was working on your own homes with your own hands.
Yes.
Did you know how to do any of that stuff before you went in?
I have no training. YouTube videos.
I was going to say.
HGTV, even though it's never as easy as they make it look. Let me tell you that for sure.
Oh, I love it. There are so many ladies that are sitting at home, so many men that are sitting at home, and they haven't activated their God-given dreams. And here you are telling me, you know what? Whatever it takes, that's what I'm going to do. That's amazing. Talk a little bit about the deserve factor, because a lot of people think, well, you know what? I don't deserve the success. I've had too many failures in the past. So talk a little bit about the deserve factor as far as the role it's played in your success.
God kind of taught me that through actually flipping homes. I would go to properties and investors have turned them down. And they said, no, this one is done. It needs to be torn down, rebuilt from the ground up. And that's kind of how I felt, thinking about my background, how I grew up, single parent home, not coming from wealth. So I felt like, well, what is anybody going to do with me, or how can I be successful in any sense? But to look at the properties that, I purchased for $40,000, went in, flipped it, and God is funny in a sense, because I sold a property for an amount that I was not expecting.
Right.
And, I was thinking, God, I felt like you called me to this. Where is my profit coming from? I'm getting through this and I'm actually just barely breaking even. But he kind of did something funny where I got a notification about the property being sold again a year after I sold it. And the young woman, I met her parents, she bought the property, sold it for $70,000 more than what she purchased it from me for in a year's time. And God's saying, I gave you the power to take what nobody thought had value and to put your hands on it. Your hands have the power to create wealth.
Right.
This wealth that I'm creating is not just for me. I'm also called to create wealth for other people. God does funny things like that.
See, before I started doing this show, I thought I was the only one that God messed around with, right? Because I've long said that God doesn't need Netflix up in heaven when he's got T.C. Bradley to mess with, right? Because I'm his entertainment, because I argue with him all the time. He drops things in my spirit, and I'm like, really? Is that what you really mean? So you're telling me he messes with you just
all
as bad?
All the time.
Tell us a defining moment in your life where you just reached that point and then you push past and things changed for you, everything changed. Do you have one of those?
I definitely do. This last project that I said God kind of used to push me to officially form this business, just before I sold the house, it was hard money lending, almost $500,000 property. I was spending $4,000 a month in interest-only payments. It was over budget, and I sold the house for a lot less than I intended to and was 6 figures in debt coming out of this property. I sold it in August of 2019, and I told God, you put me out here, and it's not my name on the line, it's your name on the line.
Come on.
People are looking, and they're not looking at me, they're looking at me saying, well, she said she did this because God told her to do this. And now I'm in a position where I'm 6 figures in debt. By the time 2020 hits, if you want me to continue this, I need all 6 figures of that debt wiped out. God moved the hand of somebody who was in the position. Also, I have other skills. I'm an engineer, a financial analyst. So
Where did you go to school at?
I graduated from Georgia Institute of Technology.
All right.
Yes, I'm an industrial engineer.
Wow.
Yes.
Industrial engineer. You just keep blowing my mind, April, sitting there talking to you. What an amazing background. What an amazing story, what God has called you to do. It's amazing. From industrial engineer to sitting in that house, putting backsplash on, or going on YouTube to learn how to do that as you're building your empire. What an incredible, inspirational story. What I'd like you to do is I want to give you an opportunity, because you're so inspirational. You have already in this interview inspired me beyond measure. And I know you've touched so many hearts of the people going, that's good. There's women right now, trust me, on the south side and on the west side, they're over there going, well, that's April. That's April, but that ain't me. She ain't been through what I've been through. And I want to give you that opportunity. God has anointed you and appointed you for this moment and this time. I want you to look into that camera. I want you to deliver that message to them of hope, of inspiration, what God has placed on your heart.
Absolutely. So this message is for any woman, man out there that thinks, because of what I went through, I'm just lucky to get out. God isn't going to use me. God doesn't have any purpose for me. I just want to let you know that everything you're going through, He can use it. God is going to use everything you've been through. And that hurt, that pain is going to turn into passion and purpose. And it's going to push you to accomplish the dream that God has placed inside of you. And there's a verse that says, before He knew you were called to the nations. So despite anything that you have gone through, know that that dream is still inside of you, and it just takes you giving God a yes and getting out of His way and let Him do what his intentional plan was for your life.
April Vaughn, one of the 1,000 God Made Millionaires.
Yes.
I agree with you. I align my faith with you. And I'm going to invite you to come back.
Absolutely.
I want you to come back.
I can't wait to come back.
You're going to come back, and we're going to talk about some of these other deals that you are taking down.
Yes.
In the name of Jesus. So thank you so much, April Vaughn.
Thank you, TC. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you believe it? We're at the end of another show, a powerful packed show with my good friend April Vaughn. You know what I love about April's story? There's so much that I loved about her story, but she's so inspirational because she is outside of the box in her thinking and what God has called her to do. She's not allowing others to define her. So often, when you are given a God-given dream that God has given you, what happens is others try to put their opinions on you, put their attitudes, and put their judgments on you about your God-given dream. April has said no to those judgments, to those opinions, to those attitudes, and she is moving forward with her God-given dream. You know, David said no to the king. I wrote in my book, God Made Millionaire, if you're ever going to activate your God-given dream, you're going to have to learn to say no to the king. When David was in the field and Goliath was on the battlefield and he heard about his Lord being defiled, he went to the king and said, I'll go and fight this giant. No other warrior would do it, but David volunteered to do it. The little boy, shepherd, went into the king's courtyard, and the first thing the king said is, you're just a boy. First thing he did was give him an opinion why he couldn't do it. And he said, if you're going to go into battle, put my armor on this boy. Put my armor on him. And they put the chain of mail, which weighed 45, 50 pounds, on David. And David had it on, and he said, no, I've not proven this. I've not tested this. Take this armor off of me. See, ladies and gentlemen, when you activate your God-given dream, people are going to try to put things on you. They're going to try to put their opinions, their judgments. They're going to try to put your past up on you and say all the reasons why you can't do it. David said no to the king, and that took guts. That took tenacity. If you're ever going to walk in your God-given dream like my good friend April Vaughn, you're going to have to say no to the king. You're going to have to say no to those friends that try to remind you of your past, remind you of your failures. You've got to say no to the king if you're ever going to walk in your destiny. With that being said, I'm looking at my producers. He's telling me I got to get out of here, but we don't leave this show ever without doing our prosperity dance. Sometime this week, you got to throw your shades on and make sure you throw some attitude on with it. Hit your music and do your prosperity dance. Big Mike, hit my music.
Inside the heart of each and every one of us lies a dream, a purpose we were put here on this planet to fulfill, a God-given mission. And when we tap into it, God will unleash unbelievable blessings over our lives, from our family to our finances. T.C. Bradley's new book, God Made Millionaire, will help you bring the abundant riches of the kingdom to all aspects of your life. Order God Made Millionaire today